Hello, everybody, and welcome to another daily chat with Andy the Cabby. How is everybody today? Give me a one in the chat if you're fine. I see a lot of people in already. And I hope everyone is well at the beginning of the week. I have to apologise. I didn't get here yesterday. As I explained in the video content yesterday, work went a bit south, basically. And I wasn't able to get here. I had to do like emergency cover for one of my own jobs because one of my guys that was covering broke down. So I was back out on the road again. But cheers, these things happen. Never you mind about that. Well, we're broadcasting to YouTube and Facebook this evening, so hello to everybody who's there. If you haven't done so already, we've got a small number in already. Please make sure your thumbs up straight away. Get in a good habit of doing that and get the old algorithm talking. Let's have a quick look and give some hellos to some people. Looks like we got some of the regulars in. Jerry Georgopoulos, hello. Kirky Bailey, Lucinda, Alan Pape, Mick E, Cosmic Warto, Debian Ringo, Julie Keys, Kim Alliston, hello to you. Bridget as well. Where else are we? John Harrington, hello to you. Paul Hoskin, hello to you. And it's good to see all of the regular people in the chat. What's he got to say? What do we want? We don't know. When do we want it? We want it now. All together now. Yeah, you're not wrong, Paul. You're not wrong. M. Perry, hello to you. Julie Keys. Yes, loads and loads of people in the chat already. And before I go, hi, Rafi. Hello to you as well. There's my technical person there in the chat too. I just want to give a big shout out to all of the channel subscribers, the channel members, anyone that's on Patreon and anyone that contributes positively to Andy the Cabby. I appreciate you all, be it comments, thumbs up, pounds a month, whatever you do to make this a happy place. Thank you very much to each and every one of you. I really appreciate it. As I said in the video at the end of yesterday, who have we got? Lorna McKenzie, hello to you. Where else? And Tyrone Whitehead is in the house. Hello to you as well. Well, it's interesting on the roads at the moment. When I've been doing airport runs over the last day or two, maybe the last week, I see signs. M20 shut between junction 11 and 12. You can't get into Dover. Coastal traffic, tourist traffic, use the M2, go and fuck up that way instead. And it's causing complete and utter chaos. Obviously, we see pictures of what's going on in Dover Port at the moment. Again, scenes of abject chaos. I'm led to understand it's a little bit more clear today. I was out on the roads, well, earlier on this morning. I didn't see any issues anywhere. So fingers crossed it's at a stop, shall we say. But it appears that the French have a solution to our problems. They're sitting there watching all this traffic building up in Dover. And it's Brexit, it's all, oh, fuck off. Is it Brexit? But they do have a solution. It's called the Schengen area. They reckon we should join it. Isn't this wonderful? And then at least all the dinghy divers could come over here and there won't be any problem because they can move freely within Europe. Oh, wow, what a solution. Anyway, let's have a look, shall we, what they have to say. I think this is wonderful. Of course, I'm being sarcastic here. It's the worst idea I've heard today, and it's almost like they've got the hump and they're trying to force our arm up our back to get us back in. Yes, there we go. France comes up with genius way to solve UK border problem. Join Schengen. I don't know whether this video will play, but let's have a look at this. I mean, this is an abject bloody disaster. There we go. That's what's happening at the moment. I think that's a day or two out of date, that video, but that gives you an idea of what's going on. you've obviously got the ports and the check-ins and everything else. I mean, that actually looks reasonably free moving at the moment. That's down at the docks with all the vehicles going on. Somebody's down there taking stock of that lot, but the traffic was actually quite well backed up by a long way. 30-mile-an-hour speed limits and everything else. Absolute crazy. So there you go. So what else they got to say here? The UK has been accused of going back 30 years because of Brexit and should join the Schengen area, a French official has said. You know, I could never say that name correctly. Maybe it's stuck in the back of my throat. I don't know. British tourists are facing lengthy queues at borders all summer, particularly at Dover and Folkestone. I heard one example of a lady that waited about 16 hours to get down to Dover the other day. Francois de Costa, Vice President of the Hauts-de-France region, including Calais, said the UK should ask to be allowed back into the free movement zone. I don't think so. He said Brexit means we must do new controls. I felt very sorry for the families. We like to welcome British tourists and we want them to come easily to our beautiful places. We have a few non-EU members who are members of Schengen. Why don't we explore such an idea? Yes, the problem is you might let us in there, sunshine, but what comes over here? We're not falling for this bullshit. At least we're not in this community right here. People hoping to cross the channel in recent days have been met with huge queues and excruciating waits. As I said, there was a lady that was waiting for about 16 hours. Folkestone was branded the hotspot of holiday hell by the AA, and more could be in store in the coming weeks. I don't know if Chrissy Williams is in the chat at the moment. Maybe she can let us know about that. The situation at the port of Dover has improved as of this morning, but queues are continuing to build with a permanent fix still not within reach. DFDS Ferries warned customers to allow at least 2 hours to get through passport control on the French side. While the situation is expected to improve and reduce demand in the next couple of days, there could be a return to bumper-to-bumper traffic very soon. Toby Howe, an official responsible for managing the situation, said the current queues at the port of Dover were normal for a Monday morning. Yeah, probably a bag of shit then, but there's another thing there. Apparently that's Dover on a Monday morning. Not great, not great. He told BBC Radio 4 Today programme that next weekend is likely to be very busy, adding it's the second busiest getaway weekend of the summer holidays. As we've just found out, the weekend just gone, traffic numbers travelling across the channel were back to pre-pandemic levels. And with the increased checks, it is slower to get through. So it takes very little to cause all those tailbacks. On what the rest of the summer could bring, he said basically it's a very vulnerable situation. It takes very little to cause further issues. The AA's Jack Cousins said this weekend, we're concerned that we could be in for a repeat of the congestion across the summer. I mean, they've even put that Operation Brock back in, so it's slowing everything up down there as well. Eurotunnel customers were impacted by congestion, promoting calls for its Director of Public Affairs to move passport checks online. Well, the airports do it. He said a lot of modern technology exists that could reduce the reliance on staff to conduct those processes in situ. There's a lot of work that can be done around improving the border. The UK government blamed French operations, which it says are undermanned, and denied post-Brexit document checks played a significant role in this. Well, of course, all the lefties and all the Ramonas are going to say, aren't they? Brexit, Brexit, Brexit. Another rail strike will be taking place on July the 27th after talks to avert it collapse. That can make things interesting. More than 40,000 workers at Network Rail and across 14 different operators will bring trains across the country to a standstill. the RMT union is locked in a battle over pay and conditions, which could see more industrial action through the summer and beyond. Is anyone in the chat ever driven a train or had any involvement with the rails? You let me know. Give me a one in the chat. I mean, how much are the drivers on? They're on a fair hefty whack, aren't they? 50 grand, some of them, maybe plus. But what about all the other workers and the hours and the pay and conditions? Is that what the issue is here? That going back to what's going on at the port, they're blaming Brexit, Brexit. But we had this situation with the airports where what was happening, we had a situation where we had the convicts, all of the staff that were there beforehand got laid off. They got furloughed, like that, fucked, go and go. And they didn't want to come back. And now all of a sudden, things are returning to normal levels. And all of a sudden, the shit hits the fan. Is this similar to what's going on down in Dover, I wonder? If you have to wonder, don't you? What's the truth of it? And all of a sudden, political football takes place. I don't know what you guys think, but it's a bloody mess. Absolute mess. This is the daily chat with Andy the Gabby Cabby, folks. Welcome to everybody that's joined us. We're broadcasting on YouTube and Facebook this evening. Hello to all of you. If you haven't done so already, please give the chat a thumbs up, hit the like button. Let's tickle that algorithm. Let's get it talking. And let's get the whole of YouTube knowing about Andy the Gabby Cabby. If you are new here this evening and you've just started watching us, please consider subscribing to the channel as well. That's wonderful of you to do that, and our numbers in that regard are certainly going up as well. Also, we're on social media. You can find all the links in the description box down there, wherever it is, and you can give us a follow and share bits and pieces, whatever you would want to do. So that's also wonderful. And of course, all of the members of the channel and all of the positive contributors, I thank you all. Let's turn to the chat a minute and have a look and see what people have got to say. Oh, I've pushed a silly button somewhere and I've gone all large. What's going on? Kirky Bailey, sound great fun to drive. Did you know they're using taxis instead of ambulances now? No, I didn't. It wouldn't surprise me, though. I've had to transport my fair share of passengers like that over time, I tell you. I've just had a bit of a technical moment. I'm just going to pull myself out of the chat and then back in again. So bear with me a second, guys. Okay, I'm back again. Can everybody hear me okay? Let me know. Adam Gill, hello to you in the chat. Hope you are well. I heard you on Alex Belfield's live chat yesterday. I think it was. That was you, wasn't it? Give me a one in the chat if that was you. It sounded like you anyway. And hope you are well. Yeah, I'm back, everybody. My screen on my phone just kind of had a bit of a silly moment. I just had to come out and go back in again, kind of thing. It does that every now and again. Hello, West. Good to see you in the chat there. I've been about ill. I think okay. All right, Adam. I got the impression you haven't been too well, and I hope you're on the mend, my friend. Yeah, it was you. Yeah, I thought I recognised your voice. I was giving that a catch up and a listen to this morning. Left flat to the plucky Ukrainians with tractors. Use that story was made up by the MSN. I agree, though. That would be a good idea to get a tank. Have you seen all these bloody stage photos in the Ukraine? Piers of Morgan there, he's over there, isn't he? And all these tanks lined up next to each other, just it's all bollocks. And what about Eurovision? We're hosting it. Oh, wonderful. Like we predicted that much. It's absolutely nuts, all of it. Let's have a look through the chat again. Yes, we can hear. Yeah, excellent. Yeah, sometimes I kind of scroll through the chat and my screen kind of does some weird silly thing and I can't access all the buttons I need to operate everything. So the only way I can do it is come out and go back in again. Call it a little technical hiccup. Yes, he's back. Sharon Shooter, hello to you. If you bought a tank, they wouldn't be able to tow it away if you were parked illegally. I could do with that at Heathrow Airport. They're good up there at trying to screw you over and get money out of you. Kirky Bailey, I drove a Warrior in Warminster, best APC ever, 1990. Yeah, you're ex-forces, aren't you, Kirky Bailey, if I remember right? For every £1 the public donates, the UK government triples it. The New York-based CEO, David Miliband, salary remuneration of 700. It's another one of those charities, isn't it, Tony, where the chief executive's salary gets covered before a lot else. I wouldn't even go there. Did you know they're using taxis in it? Yep, we've had that. Tyrone Whitehead, trouble with the transport when it's holiday time. That's right, it goes nuts. And, the airports, they've got delays and messing around. I've got a few emails this evening where flights have been changed. And you can't make it up. All the chaos involved is absolutely ridiculous. The price of train tickets, now the drivers are the only ones who can get on. Yeah. No, but used to drive Army 432 Warriors, Chieftains Challengers, and worker fuel pods, also fire engines at Kirky. Brother-in-law was a train supervisor, retired in November. That's Bridget. Okay, you know better than me. Alan Pape. Hello, Alan, by the way. I can't remember whether I said hello to you. Steam train, okay. I know that's not what you wanted, Andy. Well, it's a train, isn't it? It chugs and it works. That's the main thing. What else have we got? I've got a toy train. Does that help? Yeah. Matt Wilson thought it was about 55 grand for drivers. Yeah, I know they were on a fair whack. I really do. Good evening, Alan. Hope you're keeping well. That's John Harris. I love that about this community. We all look out for each other. Yeah, I know the train drivers are on a fairly good screw, as they say. Obviously, job wise, and I do wonder whether the cleaners of the trains, the conductors, and everyone else may not be on such a good screw. I don't know. I mean, the train drivers themselves do have some things they have to put up with every now and again. I mean, I remember coming back from London a few years ago and somebody decided to throw themselves off the bridge in front of our train. And I just remember, and all the lights flashed and it came to a stop. We thought, what the hell's going on? And the conductor came up the train carriage and trying to reassure us everything was all right. And I remember he walked past my family and kind of turned round. I could see him, but they couldn't see him. And we kind of looked at each other. And I gave him a look as if to say, my bullshit detector is going off. What is really going on? And he just went up and he quietly told me what had happened. Somebody had tossed themselves off the bridge in front of the train. But in that circumstance, they have to remove the driver from the train. So you have to wait until somebody gets on and replaces a guy that was there. And then you're pulled into the nearest station and everyone disembarked. I mean, that was funny that night because there was a guy on the train with us that actually knew my mum. Mum's in the chat, by the way. Hello, Mum. I'm talking about Alan, who lives over the road, and him and his wife were able to get us the rest of the way. So that was quite handy how that worked out. That kind of thing happens all the time, and I guess if you see it and you're, there's not a lot you can do with a few hundred tons of train carriage behind you. They call it 100, John Harris says. Yeah, I bet it goes on a lot. Tyrone Whitehead, privatisation with the trains has screwed things up. Yes, that usually has that effect, doesn't it? Paul Hoskin sounds a bit fishy to me, laugh out loud. We won't talk about fish. Everything's a bit fishy these days, isn't it? Listen, folks, this is the daily chat with Andy the Gabby Cabby. We've got a good number of you in the chat, and we're broadcasting across Facebook and YouTube this evening. Hello to everybody that's just joined us. If you haven't done so already, thumbs up and give us the old 1-2 on the old like button. No, actually not 1-2, because you like it and then dislike it. Just hit it once. Go on, do it now. Hit it once. While we're at it, I can't actually see the number of thumbs up we get. So could somebody please tell me how many we do have? And we've got something like 89, 90 watching at the moment, which is wonderful. And I appreciate you all. We've got 60 thumbs up, my mum says. Come on, folks, a little bit more. Get the thumbs up going. Up. And we'll see if we can get anywhere near that. David Perry reckons we got 600. I wish. Thank you, Julie. Smash the like button. Let's get the algorithm dancing. That's wonderful. We've got 61 now. Okay, brilliant. Well, they're working up, aren't they? They're certainly working up. Let's see what other stories there are. Yes, our friend Diane Abbott, or Diane Abacus, as certain people call her, hits out at hopeless Tory leadership rivals as Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss clash over China. Now, I did actually see this earlier. There was a headline where Rishi Sunak says that he was going to get tough on China. He was going to sort them out. He was going to be the man for the job. And Liz Truss said, I'll pull the other one, Rishi. We're not falling for any of it. Well, guess what? We're not falling for any of this crap. It's all little sound bites to try and make yourselves look as good as possible. And it looks like Miss Abbott, we'll call her Diane, shall we, just for the sake of clarity, has called them out. So let's see what the dear lady has to say, just in case you're in need of a reminder. I hope you don't stick your cornflakes out, but there she is, the dear thing. She's still doing the rounds. I love how there's a poppy on there, so that must be a very old picture, unless she's forgotten what day of the year it is, which is highly likely. Yes, Foreign Secretary Liz Truss and former Chancellor Rishi Sunak are facing off as the final two contenders. I mean, that was predictable in itself, wasn't it? Really, some establishment toff was always going to get the job, despite what we were wishing to the contrary. Over the coming weeks, it will be up to party members to decide which of the two takes up residence in Downing Street. The rest of us. Miss Truss and Mr. Sunak will take part in a televised leadership debate on Monday evening as the campaigns become increasingly bitter. Well, they do at this stage, don't they? There's a lot more sniping going on. But it's the issue of austerity that's attracted particular criticism from Miss Abbott as she hit out at both candidates. She wrote on Twitter, one contender thought it was a good idea to impose more austerity during a cost of living crisis. The other applauded him, but now attacks him. Hopeless. Well, I never thought I'd hear myself say this, but she might have a point. They're just bloody sniping at each other, looking for the top job. This is where it gets nasty, and this is where the more of the sound bites come in. It came as the two leadership rivals clashed over the former Chancellor's vow to get tough on China. Mr. Sunak has promised to close all the communist states' 30 Confucius institutes in the UK. It's never going to happen, Rishi. The institutes are funded by the government in Beijing, and they're intended to be culture and language centres, but critics argue they embody Chinese propaganda tools. Mr. Sunak accused China of propping up Putin's fascist invasion of Ukraine, stealing British technology, and infiltrating our universities. Well, he's just saying what we've all been saying for ages, but now he thinks it's politically expedient. He's going to say it. But actions speak louder than words. We don't fall for this bullshit anymore. He pledged to lead the world in standing up to China's technological aggression by amending the higher education bill to force British universities into disclosing foreign funding partnerships of more than £50,000. The 42-year-old added, "I will stop China taking over our universities and get British companies and public institutions the cybersecurity they need. I will work with President Biden, yeah, and other world leaders to transform the West's resilience to the threat China poses." Hitting back, a spokesman for Ms. Truss's team accused the former Chancellor of being soft on China, pointing to an article in Beijing's Global Times that effectively endorsed Mr. Sunak as their preferred candidate. The spokesman added Ms. Truss, during her tenure as Foreign Secretary, has strengthened Britain's position on China and helped lead the international response to increased Chinese aggression. Former Tory leader Sir Ian Duncan Smith, there's another Tory grandee, who backs Ms. Truss's campaign, asked Mr. Sunak, "After such a litany, I have one simple question. Where have you been over the last 2 years?" Sums it up very nicely in that last sentence, doesn't it? Very nicely indeed. They're all saying whatever they want to do, whatever they feel they need to say to get the top job. That's what it's all about. None of this is going to come to fruition. I mean, they were both harping on about the dinghy divers yesterday, and it's all bullshit. You know, oh, we're going to stop them. We're going to do this. How are you going to do that? How are you going to do what nobody else has been able to do for a better part of the last decade? It's not all going to magically change overnight. You know, more people need to wake up to this political bullshit and give them what for when it comes our time to vote. If, we can get anywhere with that. That system seems to be against us as well. And it's just a pantomime circus, isn't it? It reads like a bad movie script. We just don't know what the hell's going on anymore. I mean, this crap's going to roll on till September, so we've got at least another 5 or 6 weeks of it yet. And meanwhile, we're all wondering how we're going to pay our electricity bills, put food on the table, and fuel the cars. You can't even put chip fat in the damn things anymore because the engines are so advanced they clog up. So that old workaround is no longer with us. Let's have a quick look, shall we? And see what people are saying. I like Chinese chippies. I'm quite partial to a curry, I have to admit, and a big bag of prawn crackers. No one is holding France accountable, Jerry Georgopoulos. No, that's right. They're waving a big stick at us, trying to get their own way. It's very, very, very sad, really, that we're putting up with it. I suggest voting ain't much use anymore. Handy Andy, I'm afraid you might be right there because we still end up with the same outcome. I mean, you look in 2010, when we ended up with a coalition between Conservatives and Lib Dems. At that time, I don't think anybody really turned out in full enough numbers to actually vote on anything. And we ended up with a hung parliament. Now, that to me would send a very clear message that we're all totally pissed off with it. And that was 12 years ago. But now, it's still going on. And back then, I remember Cameron saying the British people have spoken. This is what they want, a coalition between the Lib Dems and the Conservatives. No, David Cameron, it's not what we wanted at all. That was just a bodge-up government to get you into power. And yeah, I don't know what planet these guys are on. I really do. I wish Yvette Cooper would take a running jump. I'm ashamed she is my MP. that votes against everything. Yeah, Julie, did you see that video I did earlier where she was saying they would scrap any plans to do with Rwanda? I mean, that was crap, utter and utter crap, because what Rwanda planes, what Rwanda deal, nothing's left the fucking country yet, and they're talking about postponing it till at least October to get all this Tory leadership shenanigans out of the way. And even then, you have to wonder whether it's going to run at all. Too many lefty lawyers, as Boris used to say, are getting in the way, and they'll put a stop to it. It's that simple, really. Standing charge for electricity increased by around 20p to, on average, 45p. That's per day, £73 to 164.25. There's the rip-off. There is the rip-off. It really is bad. Yes, I did, and a lot of Castleford gave her what for. Yeah, I mean, we talk about Brexit, for example. You go back to, when the original referendum was, and you had the likes of Yvette Cooper, Keir Starmer, and various others saying this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. This is a once only vote to change the destiny of this country. We will respect what happened, and then they spend the next year, 18 months trying to stop it, trying to change it. So to me, as a member of their constituency, I would have said, well, hang on a minute, you've told us this is happening and you've lied to us. Why should we elect you? And I think they should have paid for it with their seat. I think they should have been gone, kaput history, and we wouldn't have Sir Beer of Starmer here now. I'm very much cut and dry. I expect somebody to be honest and down the middle, particularly if you're going to represent me in Parliament. You need to be honest with the people that put you there. And inevitably, there's a great deal of them that aren't, or just don't even bother. And they say, oh, what I'm hearing on the door is, how many doors have you knocked on? 1, 5, none? It's bullshit. We're seeing it for what it is. We are seeing it for what it is. They're all puppets with only one script to read. Mickey, you're dead right, Mickey. I mean, at the end of the day, many years ago, you had the Tories, you had Labour, one for the working man, one the upper class bunch of toffs, and now they're all the same, highly educated, multi-millionaire people in suits. And how do they represent me or my needs or ideals in any way, shape, or form? I do not believe they do anymore. It's as simple as that. Here in New Hampton, USA, predicted electric prices hiked up to 50%, all because of the scarcity of natural gas, etc. Winter should be interesting to all of us, Jerry, to all of us. I mean, it's still quite warm here. I don't know what the temperature's like in the parts of the country where you guys are, but it's pretty warm here still, and we've not had to put the heating on, but it'll get to a point where we're going to have to, and that's where it'll be interesting. And you get the likes of Martin Lewis, and I know what many people think about him and where everything gets steered, but he's saying civil disobedience in the form of non-payment of bills, and I can see that happening. And this is really where prepayment bills bite you in the arse, because then they've got the control over it and you don't. You don't feed those prepayment bill meters, you'll get cut off. And I wonder how many people will end up in that situation. It's really very sad. Just want to say welcome to everybody that's just joined us this evening. I will not be watching the leaders' debate, Julie. I've got some catching up to do when I come away. I might do a little piece on it tomorrow for everybody and let you know what I think. Once I've watched the highlights, of course, it's politics is fucking boring, but it's very relevant, isn't it? It's very relevant at the moment. Yes, welcome to everybody that has just joined us. If you're watching, this is a daily chat with Andy the Gabby Cabby. Thank you for coming along and listening to me jibber jabbering along and joining in with the community. It's nice to see you here. If you haven't done so already, guys, please hit the like button, the thumbs up on the chat. That's how we get these live chats and, of course, the channel noticed. The more thumbs up we get, the better. We need 16 more to reach 100. I'm reliably informed by Julie Baldwin. So please get that thumbs up button smacked, and let's try and get that up in the next 5 minutes or so. If you haven't done so already, also please hit the subscribe button if you're new here. It's completely free to do. We're up to about 30,740 subscribers now, something like that. So we're doing very, very well indeed, and I'm pleased at the progress. We went for a while. We were going, but now we're going, and hopefully we will get up there. Yes, all wonderful. Listen, just diverting away from matters at the moment. I've seen a thing with my YouTube app today where I'm getting a lot of videos that are like 2 or 3 years old, which I have no interest in watching because the news in them is completely out of date. Has anybody actually seen that happen with theirs today? Give me a 1 in the chat if you have. I don't know if it's just my technology playing up or it's just a YouTube thing, but it just seems strange that that was happening. Well, quite a lot actually. It was happening. I have to say, Tom Tuga chat is our local MP, and he has always responded very quickly. He's genuine. Tom, he even sends me weekly China research news. He's always investigating the CCP. Yeah, Kim Alliston, there you are, an example of an MP that actually at least attempts to do what they're put there to do. You said he responds pretty promptly. I'll be fair, my local MP responds pretty promptly whenever I've written to him. I mean, we don't always agree, but I remember one time from him, I got a stereotypical "this is the Tory" response, which didn't actually answer my question, and I wrote back and I said, "Come off it. What planet do you think I'm on? Can I have an actual answer, please?" And he gave me a little handwritten note. I won't say his name because I wouldn't want to drop him in it or anything, but that did impress me. That I got a Westminster-based thing and a little note on the end signed, and I thought, okay, I like this. This is good. They spam old videos. Yes, West. Yeah, it was actually Alex Belfield's channel was one of the main things, because you get all the recommended stuff, don't you? And back where he was, Celebrity Radio, there was a load of these theatrical reviews and some of his early stuff, and there was just loads and loads and loads and loads of it. I thought, whoa, that's like 2 or 3 years out of date. Why are you showing me this? It's just not relevant. There's other news that's taken up, and it's not only his channel. There was others as well. It was just loads and loads of old stuff, and I couldn't figure it out. But there you go. Andy, they imported him from the USA, allows the normies to believe that their leaders are caring. Yes, well, what can you say about that? Our local MP is a Tory. We've had Labour before, and he's spot on, John Harrington says. Okay. 96 likes. The suspense. Yes, come on, folks. 4 more. We need 4 more to get there. Attendees. No probs, Kim. Sure, I've had that, Andy. All of a sudden, weird vids and vlogs from the past. Thought I'd been hacked. Yeah, it's weird how they did it. Really weird. Right, last story of the day. I want to ask everybody a question. When you were at school, were you bullied? 1 if you were, and 2 if you weren't. If you don't want to answer that, that's fine. But let's have a show of hands. Were you bullied? 1 if you was, 2 if you wasn't. Let's see what people have to say. Yeah, a bit of a mixed bag. I suppose it depends on your friendship circles at the time. What school you went to, what area, the way things were. Yeah, 50-50 split. I was bullied at school for quite a considerable amount of time. And what actually happened in the end, I had just about enough of it. The guy came up to me after a few years of bullying, and I basically, and he never bullied me again after that. And that took many, many years to pluck up the courage to do that. I mean, that's not the answer. They'll tell you now to do that, but I mean, Christine Quinnell, I lashed out in the end, and it stopped. That's exactly what happened in my case as well. Smack, and they stopped. But all of the namby-pamby, soft, liberal-like ways these days will not accept that. I mean, whenever my kids have ever had any problems at school, I've jumped on it straight away because I just remember that, and I could tell you some funny stories as well about things that happened over the years, but we don't have the time in this live stream. But yeah, I was particularly disgusted by this. Uh, the headline is Bully 24 was filmed throwing a 8-year-old autistic boy into a dustbin as a joke. I mean, I won't play the video because it's probably a bit disgusting and disturbing, but you can see from the thumbnail there that he's obviously got a young lad over his shoulder. I mean, 8 years old is the same age as my son. And if somebody threw him in a bin, joke or otherwise, I would probably return the favour to that person rather rapidly. And it might not be a bin. It's really, really disgusting. A mother has slammed a sentence given to a boy, well, a man who threw her autistic son into a wheelie bin. Jordan Scott, remember that name, 24 years old, claimed he put Maverick Bond, 8 years old, into a bin as a joke before beating up his older brother, Jason Clements, 19 years old. So he not only binned the young boy, he beat his brother up as well. His mum, Rachel, who filmed the attack, said the family is now so scared that they've had to move out of their home in Blackburn. Jason suffered cuts across his face and body following the attack in Blackburn, but Bond got away with 100 hours of community service and a legal bill of just over £200. Rachel says, it kills me every day that this happened to my boys, my children. Now we have such amazing neighbours and live in a lovely area. I'm just upset that we had all this evidence from the doorbell camera. It didn't make a bit of difference with his sentencing. It's sickening. I'm heartbroken at the sentence he received, as bullies like him deserve a lot more. But now the truth is out there. I just want to get on trying to build mine and my children's lives. My sons were already suffering because of other things that have happened in their lives, which people in the street knew about, including Jordan Scott. So putting my 8-year-old in a bin, who is such a beautiful soul, brought all the past memories back, and he couldn't understand why somebody could do that to him. He still has nightmares now, and Jordan Scott is a downright bully. As for Jason, he started getting angry and more depressed following the attack and moved out as soon as Jordan Scott moved back in next door with his girlfriend. Jason did nothing to deserve that attack. He's only ever been hit once before, and my boys aren't fighters. I so wish I'd brought them up by the way to defend themselves from men like Jordan Scott. I mean, there you go. That's just a little sample. That's his arm. He's obviously fallen there or been kicked or something. Rachel said Scott was only sentenced so quickly because of the speedy actions of her son, Cody, who was 12 at the time of the attack. She said on that night, Cody, my other son, he kept opening and shutting the door so he could get it on the camera. That's what he did every time he felt unsafe. It wasn't fair, and it wasn't fair the fact that all the kids in the street saw it as well. The family have now been forced to move away from the area because of the trauma of the incident. She said he was getting bullied by some of the kids, and the bullying got worse. He felt intimidated. He still goes on about it to this day. He was getting hit. They would taunt him. He's such a loving-natured child, and I'm not just saying this because he's my son. It would help everybody. Absolutely vile, disgusting incident involving a couple of innocent young boys, one of which is obviously 8 years old, same age as my Jack. Where do you start with that one? I mean, what gets me is when he tossed him in that bin. What if he hit his head or something like that? You know, what if the injuries to the other lad were more severe and more life changing? I'll segue away from this a minute. I know a lad, and I'll tell you more when I'm able to. That was assaulted nearly a year ago in a local street near me. And the net result of he fell over when the lad hit him. He face planted the curb and lost two of his front teeth. And there's been an awful lot of problem with the expense side of things, where the lad's having to travel to a hospital to be evaluated every so often, how his teeth are doing. They actually managed to put them back in, which I thought was good. And there's lost earnings and various other factors, and also what goes on up here, where you're attacked on a night out on a street and not expecting it, and a year later there's still no charge. And then you get this example with this thug who decides it's a good idea to throw an 8-year-old defenseless boy into a bin, who gets very negligible sentence because of that. Again, where is the deterrent? Where is the thing that's going to stop this from happening? Why did he see fit for it to go on in the first place? It happens all the time. I mean, I got a message from a serving police sergeant local to me not so long ago, who actually told me the truth about what's going on behind the scenes. And he says, don't let those many sound bites fool you, because it ain't like that at all. It ain't like that at all. It's really, really quite disturbing. My best wishes to the family, and I hope they get over it. But I sometimes think you have to learn to look after yourself, learn to defend yourself against this, because it feels like the help isn't there anymore. And I love how the young lad kept opening and shutting the door, trying to get the old Ringo camera, getting it all on there. That's really pretty good. Let's just have a minute or two and have a quick look through the chat. Bullied relentlessly in the 80s in Liverpool for being Irish. Yeah. They can just pick on you for being different, can't they? I was attacked about 15 years ago. 3 youths in a car chased me. The police did nothing, but something happened. Paul, the man was arrested and had to leave. It was during lockdowns. It took 18 months to get rid of him. Jesus. It happens everywhere. I mean, I remember years ago, I was driving my car. I pulled into this road, and there was these two older kids who looked like they were duffing up a young boy. And initially I thought it was just a play fight. And I looked in my rear view mirror as I drove past, and I realised it wasn't a play fight. And I slammed my brakes on, jumped out of my car. I went, "Hi!" And I chased these two little cretins down the road to get them away from this kid. And they disappeared off. And I was an old man compared with them. I thought, Jesus Christ, I can't keep it. So I went and intercepted the young boy and took him home to his mum and dad and explained what had happened. And they were most grateful and got him away. But it was another case of bullying. Next door's dog barks. They're crazy all the time, but it's their fault. Sorry to hear that, love, on the Irish, as I have Irish ancestry. Yeah, it's they can just be so cruel sometimes. Marjorie, agree with you completely. We'll keep them in my prayers also. That's Kim Alliston. Hello, William Coakley Hill. Hope you're all right from Newmarket. Thank you for joining us. Where else are we? I was attacked about 15 years ago. 3 youths in a car chased me. The police did nothing. A lot of the time now, they're so overworked. It's almost like they're selecting what cases they'll get a result out of and what they won't, or more what they can be bothered with. It's crap. I was bullied relentlessly in the 80s in Liverpool. That's Kirky Bailey. My old man got bullied for a time years ago by a local kid, and then he joined the army, and he came back on leave, and this kid tried to carry on where he left off and had a bit of a nasty shock. I remember the story from my dad. Felt so good. That's Angela Gill. With you on that, John. Well done, Chrissy Williams. Bring the stocks back. Yeah. Stick them in the town square and pelt them with rotten tomatoes. I saw a lad bully a girl. I was the one to jump in first. Yeah. I mean, the unfortunate thing these days, if you try and help, they're probably tooled up more these days than they ever were, and it's a bit of a different proposition. But years ago, you could say, pack it in. It's a different world we live in. I'm shocked that some schools have CCTV and X-ray machines in case someone is carrying weapons. I mean, you say that, Tyrone, and I agree with you. I mean, I look at my lad school round the corner, and there's none of that. And you look to America, for example, where you have the active shooter situations in the schools. And, they're talking about all the security measures and everything with those, with what's going on. It's almost like literal fortresses. And you wonder what our kids are getting exposed to today. It really is bad. Picking up litter to put in the bin. How many people have had neighbours? Oh, I like my neighbours. They're cool. I'm off, bud. Need Kip. Stay safe. See you later, Adam. Good to see you. I always stood up to a verbal bully. He could dish it, but he couldn't take it. That's the best way. You've got to front it, really. Now they'd come back with a knife, get somebody else to do it, or come back with their gang. Yeah, Cosmic Wartoad, you're probably right there. Listen, folks, we're going to round it off for this evening. I want to thank you all for joining me. We obviously started off with the Dover situation, what was going on down there, and segued off into other matters. I like to try and, with these chats, just try and concentrate on some things and have a bit of a natter with you as well. And I love it when I watch the chat because I can see it all down there, see you all communicating with each other in this community of ours as well. And it's wonderful to see every day. And, we've built this up together. I really, really do like it. And all of your input. If you haven't done so already, before you go, give us a like. Let's get those up just a tiny little bit more. I think we're well over 100 by now, so pretty happy with that. And subscribe if you haven't. I know many of you have. I recognise all the names in the chat, really. And keep sharing, keep watching, and keep commenting. There'll be another video coming up very shortly, last one of the day. I've got to pre-record that yet. I didn't have time to, but I'll get that done for you. And we'll be back tomorrow with more stuff. I've got another run to Gatwick this evening. It's a lady that lives down there. I've got to take her daughter to the airport. So another early one for me. So think of me on the roads. Until then, take care of everybody. Stay safe, stay cool. I'll see you tomorrow. Toodaloo.